watching the U.S. shaking hands and making deals and signing contracts with people who you just described as running a cartel and remnants of the regime. These are the same Delcy Rodriguez and others who were leading the country and crushed the will of the Venezuelan people in the presidential election of 2024.
We all know this is not sustainable. We all know this is a phase in which the restoration of institutions is just starting. As I said, it starts with the dismantling of the repressive structure, but in a country that currently is located in the last place worldwide in rule of law, the only way you can have long-term massive investments, not only in oil and gas, but in all other sectors in which Venezuela has unique and huge potential, requires legitimacy in the institutions, required constitutional compliance, and certainly the support of the people. And what we are watching, and we have fought for this very long, is a process taking place and advancing at a pace that we certainly want to move ahead and to accelerate. And we're doing our part outside and inside.
So you mentioned oil and gas. Let's stay on that for a moment. The U.S. imposed order that seems to be emerging is oil, gas, business first, and then we'll deal with democracy and human rights and free speech and all the rest of it. Do you agree that that appears to be how things are taking shape? And B, is that the right order?
Well, we believe that many things have to be addressed simultaneously in Venezuela because of the degree of destruction and simultaneous crisis we have. We have a humanitarian crisis, we have economic crisis, we have a public service crisis, and certainly a security one. So all these issues need to be addressed simultaneously. The Secretary of State has been clear in saying that these phases can overlap, and that's part of the work we're doing right now to be sure.
But in terms of the sequencing, I'm sorry to jump in terms of the sequencing, you're okay with that it's the Energy Secretary who's the first senior U.S. official to set foot that we know of in Venezuela since last month?
Well, to be clear, the first actions that actually took place were the initial release of political prisoners, and that's taking place as we speak. 480 have been released so far. Still, there are over 800 in prison, but this is huge. And we're starting to see that the consequence of these release of political prisoners is a reaction from Venezuelan society, mobilizing, gathering, demanding in the streets, something that was unthinkable a month ago, unthinkable. So we are seeing certain progress. Of course, it's not enough. Of course, we want this to move further and more and accelerate it. And that's precisely our job right now. The Venezuelan people inside demanding for, civic rights to be totally restored, because at the end, you cannot talk about a transition if you have repression. And that's what we are demanding right now. And that's what we demand from the international community to support us at this stage.